Redditors that worked with a dating company, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, etc. What's the most insane user stat or behind-the-scenes fact you found out about? A dude with over 2,000 right swipes and no matches. This reminds me of that episode of South Park where the kid had 0 Facebook friends. Lots of gay guys get banned from Grindr selling weed. Would get a lot of emails of, "Why am I banned?" Go to their profile and will say, HMU, for that. At my bachelorette party in New Orleans, someone wanted weed and was going to try to find someone on Bourbon Street. My friend said it was way easier and safer for him to use Grindr. Took less than 10 minutes. This was years ago now, but I used to work with a guy who had been an engineer for Match.com. He said 99% of the profiles were inactive, and that 80% of the active profiles were men. He didn't provide numbers, but also said there was a huge disparity between the average number of messages sent to women versus those sent to men. According to him, all told the site was mostly men reaching out to dead profiles and never getting responses. As I said, however, this was years ago, so it's entirely possible that they've cleaned the site up since then. Not sure about Match, but I know Tinder automatically removes you from the lineup, so to speak, if you've been inactive for more than 7 days. It seems they removed me from their lineup after 7 hours of being active. I'm a pretty average-looking woman in my 40s, and would average 40 to 50 new messages a day on OkCupid. My profile wasn't flirty or indicating hookups only. I met my wonderful partner on there, and says in 3 years, he probably has around 2 first messages the entire time. One was me, and the other was someone asking for money. My partner is a jolly good-looking man, with a clever, funny and intelligent profile, and should have had hundreds of messages. Girls are missing out by not reaching out first. I used to moderate OkCupid. The amount of unsolicited dick pictures men would send women, not even accompanied by any words, was horrifying. I mean, you'd expect it because online dating is a cesspit, but the sheer amount would still surprise you. I had to look at each reported picture and say, yes, that's a penis. I used to work at Bumble, although this was about 4 to 5 years ago. Globally, about 90% of the users are men, so there is a huge male-to-female disparity, although it's not that bad on a per-country basis for some countries. The most depressing stat, though, was the histogram of word count in messages. Something like 91% of opening messages were just one word, hey, and 85% of conversations were just one exchange long, hey, no reply ever. Looking at human, digital mating habits played out in data science form was really depressing. Update, yikes, this thread really exploded. Some people have asked me a lot of the same questions, so I'm providing answers here. 1. When I worked there, we were not allowed to read the content of chats, only gather metadata about them, word count, number of exchanges, but we could not build models which analyzed the content of chats. This chat was about food, this one was about holidays, this one was sexual. This was due to stringent GDPR draft rules/TOS/privacy rules at the time, and Bumble took user privacy very seriously, so chats were never read or analyzed for content, not even by automated models. However, this was 4 to 5 years ago, and they may have amended their TOS since then to allow it, or they might be analyzing content for non-GDPR countries, USA. Therefore, as others have pointed out, we don't know for sure that the word used most often was actually, hey, it could have been, hello, or howdy. In the office, we always assumed it was, hey, due to our own experiences on the app. But we did know with certainty that 91% of first messages used only a single word, so we guessed it was, hey. 2. The countries which had better male-female ratios, which I can remember, were the Nordic ones. Sweden and Norway were close to 50-50, and for a time, one of them even had more women on the app than men. Not sure how it is now. 3. The GDPR rules were released in 2016. Even earlier draft rules for some industries, such as banking/finance and telecoms, but were not actually enforced until 2018. This grace period of 2 years was so that firms could implement all of the massive legal and technical protocols for GDPR, and many compliance/tech departments in London did nothing but a mad dash sprint for 2 to 3 years straight to get GDPR compliant before the 2018 deadline. As such, Bumble was already GDPR compliant, at least in terms of user chats. Don't know about other aspects. Well before 2018, as I said, they took user privacy seriously, even before GDPR. We weren't allowed to read chat messages due to a combination of user privacy TOS, specific to Bumble, and GDPR draft rules. I just wrote GDPR as a catch-all term for all of the various privacy rules in effect then, including TOS. But yes, I agree, the rules were not enforced yet. I apologize that I wasn't specific. I wrote my reply quickly this morning not thinking it would explode like this, and so just blurted out GDPR without getting pedantic about which rules and which years. Apologies for any confusion. 4. All these numbers are pulled from my memory of what I saw 4 to 5 years ago, and thus are not canon law or academic paper worthy. Update 2. Thank you most kindly for all of the awards, kind strangers. I very much appreciate it. My ex-BF worked for the Yahoo Italy dating site back in the early-ish 2000s. His job was to pretend to be a woman and message male customers just as their accounts were going to expire. This would encourage them to pay to renew their subscriptions. Once they renewed, he would ghost them. He only lasted for a few months due to how unethical it was. A couple met on the dating app one worked on. Unfortunately, the man passed away, and the lady returned to the app where they met for remembrance. One day, a bug in the system made some profile likes to be sent again after months, and she received one from her deceased boyfriend. Her bug report was heartbreaking. I have a friend who works for, I want to say Tinder. Anyway, the company isn't important. What is important is that her entire job is to remove inappropriate images. Her job is to look at dick pics all day. 5 days a week. That's all. No stat. Just a weird fucking job. Yeah, I've done the job. You get used to it pretty quickly. So many dicks and buttholes. Every shape, size, and color imaginable. I used to monitor chat logs too. That's where the real fucked up shit is. A month or two ago, there was a post on the subreddit Dating Advice explaining how to actually use Tinder in a way that works for you. It said things like, "Don't just swipe right on everyone," and "Don't like girls who drop their Instagram handles. Those ones never reply. They're just farming followers." Instead, it suggested focusing on girls with solid, genuine profiles. After a week or two, maybe 3, the algorithm starts to understand what kind of person you're into and begins matching you with better potential dates. At first, you might only get 1 or 2 matches, but over time, that number grows. Most people give up after 4 days, which isn't nearly enough for the algorithm to figure you out. Since that post blew up, I decided to go back and find the original thread. And here it is. Not been working, but a friend wrote her master thesis about the different criteria in online dating and real life. Almost half, 43%, the female participants who were in a relationship told they'd never have swiped right on their current partner. Other interesting results were that over 60% of men they wrote with on apps and agreed to go on a date would have no chance if they asked in real life. Edit. Since many asked about the thesis, I'll ask her if she can share it here, but be prepared. It's in German. As to the second point, I don't know exactly how she worded the question in the survey, but IRC she was referring to clubs and the like. The creator of Match.com got cheated on. She left him for a man she met on Match.com. I worked for Match for a couple years. This is probably widely known, but women frequently lie about their age and weight and men lie about their height and salary. Also, it's a big problem that women are inundated with DMs while most men get none. I won 6 months of Match.com services for free because I attempted their challenge of messaging, politely, 10 women a week for 6 months, and got 0 responses. I also got 0 responses the second 6 months too. How could you verify they were lying about that information? User feedback after a date? Don't know about Match, but in Badoo, looks like they have some kind of triggers in messages. Hopefully it's automatical and not monitored. I've met a few girls there that said they're 18 to 19, but in DMs they told me they're younger, sometimes even 15. But application is strictly 18 plus. And a few minutes later after telling me their age, their accounts were deleted. Guys swipe right on 47% of profiles. Women only swipe right on 12%. I knew some guys would swipe right more than women, wasn't prepared for how little women swipe right. Edit, here's some more. Searching for serious or casual relationships for men versus women. 61% of men want something serious, while 38% want something casual. 87% of women want something serious, while only 13% want something casual. It's worth noting on that last one that it's partially because of a difference in how men and women would describe themselves if they're not sure. Women would rather say something serious if they're not sure to see how something goes, but happy for it to turn casual if they're not feeling it. While men would prefer to say something casual and then happy for it to turn serious if they like them. This is why we've given in and added a not sure option in our big update next week. Feedback on chat/users. We're unique in that we only let you chat to 3 users at a time, so you have to end a chat to talk to someone new. When you end a chat, you have to give private feedback. Here's some of the feedback people choose. You can pick more than one. 34% ghosted/didn't say anything. 12% great chat. 11% polite and respectful. 11% not enough in common. 8% no chemistry. 8% hard to talk to. 2% rude/inappropriate. Why people ghost. We call ourselves the anti-ghosting app because we notify you if someone replaces your chat with someone new, since you can only talk to 3 at a time. Doesn't stop rejection, but at least you're not left wondering and waiting. We did some research with users to find out why people ghost on dating apps. They could choose more than one answer. 43% avoid the awkwardness of saying I wasn't interested. 37% they said/did something I didn't like. 36% was too busy, and then it was too late. 32% couldn't be bothered to keep replying. 28% I forgot to reply. 25% couldn't think of a reply. 23% too many other people to respond to. 22% I've never ghosted anyone. 6% other. Source: I'm the founder of a dating app. Edit 2. Thanks for all the awards, support and kind words. Seriously means a lot. Have tried to answer as many questions as I can and might even do a proper AMA when we launch our big update next week if there's interest. The reason I found my partner, we have a child together, etc. is because she handed her phone to a friend who accidentally swiped up while taking the phone and super liked me. My takeaway from this: I'm screwed. Between the pandemic, my lack of social skills, and a burning shyness and introversion, I'm going to be a 40-year-old virgin. Edit. Wow, was not expecting to come back to this. I appreciate all the kind words and tips. I've been working on improving myself along with my social skills, but it's been difficult with everything going on. You all take care of yourselves. It's good to realize that you can't win a rigged game. That means you can put all that potentially wasted effort into something that will produce real results. Dating apps for shy guys are like escalators for obese people. You might think, hey, the perfect technology for me. But it's actually better for you to take the stairs. It's supposed to be terrifying to approach women. You're supposed to learn to do it anyway. That's what makes it attractive, even if you are awkward AF while doing it. It signals to them that, in spite of the crippling knowledge of your own insufficiencies, you are capable of moving forward and going after what you want. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, if you work for a dating site, share your insider secrets. And don't forget to check out our other videos.